Hey everyone, this is Trish Kane, CEO and founder of Healerverse. We're coming to you live from the Healerverse Roundtable, which we're just bringing back today after taking some months off. It's a really exciting time for humanity. Healerverse just closed our Reg CF. You could feel the vibration has completely leveled up and uplifted. Like you can feel the energy around is really starting to like almost like hold us up, and we're all reaching for new heights, and it's feeling really good. I feel like I went from autopilot to rolling on like pure adrenaline and excitement and alignment, which is a big difference when you think about it. I don't know if anyone here can relate to that. I'm going to put in the comments here. We're going to be launching our corporate well-being program here in a very short time period, and our practitioners are going to be invited to take on corporate well-being clients through our new iOS Android app that will be released soon. We also are launching a new affiliate program that's 100 times better than the last one. Um, and going to be inviting independent and individual sales agents, for example, like Aflac agents, insurance agents, big pharma reps that will probably be out of a job soon to be part of our community and bring companies to us. We're also going to be having the opportunity for practitioners to be able to come speak at your events, and they're verified by us. They're amazing. And what else are we doing? Oh yeah, we're planning HealerCon now, which is gonna be a
Awesome.
massive event here in Palm Beach, Florida. We have a lot of collaborations happening that I'm not gonna mention on this call, but maybe the next one. So that's all I got for now. You could probably guess who else lives in Palm Beach, Florida, and what we're gonna be doing. And it's about time. And
hmm
yeah, we're
Do you
gonna
have dates for HealerCon yet?
no, but really
Okay,
good partners.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah, like what I envision for that is like partnerships, speakers, healers, sound healing, yoga, like all like, you know what I mean, in different times happening, and some stuff happening at the same time, vendors, but like also really targeting corporate, right? And we're going to be giving back a portion of our proceeds to Russell Brand's dad, Ron, who's going to be doing a nice new endeavor for helping homelessness and addiction collaboratively in the UK. So we're going to do stuff with him here in the US, and that's all I'm going to say about that really. But more will unfold right after I officially get out the 500,000 emails in our CRM system, which I've been savaging through the last week. We're going to launch the telehealth, and I'm going to plan that simultaneously. And it's going to be such a good event because there's nothing like what we are doing here, right? There's nothing like it. We're also going to be teaching people about AI there and like different tools and stuff. And yeah, and giving back to addiction and homelessness is something that's near and dear to my heart. It touches almost every single family, especially addiction, right? Or a friend in some way, shape, or form. So I think that's going to be super cool to do stuff with that. And yeah, really blast off this corporate well-being program. I think it's going to be easy to get corporate clients. We need more practitioners. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
affiliate program is going to be lit too. So, Dr. T, Tadine, Gwen, you guys are all here. Um, so if you guys all want to like take a little piece of this, I would love that. Dr. T, do you want to go first?
Gosh, you'll if you get me started talking, I won't shut up. You realize that's the greatest risk that you have in this whole thing. I'm really excited. I agree with you, Trish. In addition to being at the very beginning stages of a golden era of human development and evolution, it's really evolution is what we're talking about. there's a genuine shift, a genuine shift in the last year, year and a half. And this whole thing is picking up steam. And all of the ugly things that we have seen happen in the world are actually speeding up that process, which I find absolutely fascinating. The more we see the screen kind of being pulled back on on some of our near and dear institutions and good God, biological science and medicine itself. We're getting a peek behind the curtain, and it ain't pretty. And this is something that I saw years and years and years ago in my training, and realized long ago that that we weren't looking for solutions in medicine, only a cash flow model that managed problems. And that just was never what I signed up for. And I was told many, many, many times, and in my trek through medicine, is you really don't belong here, do you, buddy? I'm like, no, I'm asking far too many questions, and my no, my differential gets a little too wide. One of the things that we were taught in medicine is that the wider your differential diagnosis, the higher the odds are that you're going to find the real problem. The better the physician you are, and in order to have a good wide differential, you have to be creative, and it's true until you reach the edge of what's acceptable. And then all of a sudden, you don't belong here, boy. And what I found out on the edges of what was acceptable, actually beyond the edges of what was acceptable, was unbelievably powerful. But it has nothing to do with medicine. It has everything to do with what's going on here at Healerverse. And it's about learning that about the paradoxical problem we have in medicine is that we like bodies, and we like things that we can weigh and measure. But the second that energy that animates these pieces of meat that we're living in separates itself from the piece of meat, medicine loses all interest in you, altogether. And we don't like to deal with that. We deal with that energy that animates the piece of meat. But that's where the power is. And what I learned through my 20-year walk in medicine was that the most powerful part of us is not doesn't have anything to do with anything other than language. It's a language. What all of us here at Healerverse are doing, we're speaking a different part of that of the language that is the operating system for these pieces of meat. So I have a question for you, Gwen. You're there? Are you there, Gwen? Still? Stu, I see you on here. There you go, Gwen. Gwen, how many languages do you speak?
I speak English.
Okay, so it's one, right?
One. Yep.
Stu, how many languages do you speak? You can talk to us. One. Um, Trish, how many languages do you speak?
One and a half.
One and a half. I'll come back to you. Big D, how many languages do you speak?
I'm kind of with Trish on the 1.5. Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
Well, she knows where I'm
very
going.
well. The one I can understand more than I could speak it. I could speak a little bit. Un po', a little Italian.
Okay, so that's like one and a quarter or a half, right? Okay. What if I told you that all of you are wrong and have underestimated the number of languages that you speak? What was your half, Trish? What was your half?
Spanish?
Okay. Well, you still shot at least one language short. Okay.
And I have two languages.
What's your second language, Glenn?
It's an ancient healing soul language that,
Yeah, energy.
yeah. that I
Okay.
speak very fluently.
Now, let me ask you a question. If I do this, what what did I just communicate to you?
Sadness, grief.
Yeah, you're distressed.
So you understood very clearly that language that I was speaking. What about this one? Ah, ah.
Looks like you've been hanging out with us.
Really? What was I
joy.
What was I communicating?
Oh,
Contagious joy.
static laughter.
Regardless of any language, any spoken language that we have, I very clearly demonstrated to you what I was feeling inside. Now, let's say, for instance, that my mother just gave birth to me, and I do this. What does that mean?
That you were in a hospital.
Yeah, God help us all.
Yeah.
But when we learn something very important, okay, there's so many things that we see all our lives, and we just take it for granted.
Mm.
But I'm gonna ask you to think a little bit differently about this for just a second, because once you realize this, the world changes right in front of you. It was so interesting for me. No, but think about this for just a second. You're a baby. You're floating around in your mom's belly, right? You don't even realize that you're here. Okay. And what are you experiencing day in and day out? What is it that you're what can you see? Can you see anything?
You feel energy.
Okay. What else are you experiencing?
Hopefully love.
Can you hear anything?
Yeah.
What can you hear?
A heartbeat.
Yeah.
You hear mom's heartbeat. What else can you hear?
Sounds from outside, vibrations, music, anything that is vocal. Yeah.
Can you hear mom breathe?
Yes.
Can you hear mom fart?
Definitely.
All of these things. And then you wake up one day and somebody's squeezing the crap out of your head. And the next minute, they're shining a bright light in your eyes and you're cold. What just disappeared?
Your innocence.
Still innocent.
Connection.
What are you not hearing?
Heartbeat.
Heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Breath. Farts.
Farts. Exactly. Okay. Now, that's the input that was just withdrawn from you. Okay. What do you do next?
You have to relearn this whole new environment.
Breathe. Nope. Scream.
Oh, it's a fight or flight. Yeah.
You scream. Who taught the baby how to scream?
No one.
No.
Nobody.
An innate survival mechanism.
Yeah, fight or flight.
Right. So the second that we're born, we get separated from our mother. What does that mean to a baby?
We're all uprooted.
Right? But what does it mean? You're exactly right, Manny. What does it mean to be uprooted, to be separated from your mother?
Disconnected.
Abandoned.
What is it? What's going to happen?
You're not safe.
You're going to freaking die. You're going to die. Okay. Think about this. How long have people been walking a planet? 2, 3, 400,000 years, 1,000,000 years, 4 million years, whatever, however long that we've been here. Okay. This world that we're living in, we're all just cavemen walking around in tennis shoes. And this world that we're living in was not, absolutely not designed for you and me. Okay. For the vast majority of human existence on this planet, it was a pretty tough world. Okay. And if you didn't survive, you didn't survive. Okay. And your genes didn't last to be passed on. So if you didn't scream when you were born to your 12-year-old caveman mother, what would she do? She'd think she just took a dump and would walk away. And so when that baby screams, what does she do?
Reach down and pick it up.
Pick it up. Who taught her how to do that? Nobody. Isn't that fascinating? Nobody taught the baby how to scream, and nobody taught the mama how to pick it up. And you guys had Deneen, are you a mom?
I am not, no.
You're not. Gwen, are you a mom?
Nope.
Okay. Stu, I'm not going to ask you.
Good dad.
I'm a dad.
But okay. So your wife, when the first second, how many kids you got?
One.
One. Okay. So, so you need a break from that kid. Let's say, say the kid's three or
From the
four
wife,
months
not the
old.
kid. Not the kid.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So, let me just tell you what happens here. No, you take a break from the kid. You hand the kid off to grandma. You say, I got to have a break. We got to go out to dinner. Okay. You and your wife go out to dinner. She's she's a lactating mom, but so you got like 3-4 hours tops. All right, before you got to get back and get that kid. You take your wife to to a nice dinner. Somebody brings you've been out there for like an hour, maybe 2.5 hours. Somebody brings a screaming baby into that restaurant. What happens to your wife?
I think biologically she
Sorry.
starts to possibly lactate.
Yeah, she soaks her shirt. Okay,
Yep.
who taught her how to do that?
God.
It's
Nobody.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
the evolution.
right. So it's almost like we have this program that says, if this, then this, right? Baby cries, we lactate. Separated from your mom, better scream. Baby cries, pick it up. And nobody taught anybody how to do this. Where's that information?
Our DNA.
Coded
That's
in
exactly right.
Yeah.
DNA.
That's
Yay.
that's the only place that it can be,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
is 97% of DNA junk?
No, because
No.
think about it, like even dogs, right? Like if you look at different breeds of dogs, like they're all like act the same, do the same things, like intuitively. They don't have to ever meet their parents because they might be swiped away as well. And also,
Precisely.
yeah,
That's exactly right. Okay.
yeah.
So think about this. 2015, there was a researcher in Canada. Her name was Rachel Yehuda, and she was a psychiatrist, ridiculously intelligent lady, researcher, and all the rest of the stuff. They had noticed a pattern of behavior. Okay, in there was a certain population that were seeking out psychiatric services for anxiety and depression at 300% the rate of the rest of the population. They just happened to be the children of Holocaust survivors. Okay, Gwen, have you seen or heard of this? No, this study? I see you nodding.
No, I'm just
Gotcha.
agreeing
Okay,
with what you're saying.
So here's what this lady did. She's freaking genius. She pulled DNA samples from both the Holocaust survivors who were very old and from their children, and looked at them. And guess what they find? Long strings of DNA that was methylated in both the Holocaust survivors and in their children that you didn't see in the rest of the population. Now, her paradigm is that 97% of DNA is junk. And so it must be some unknown pathway that is increasing cortisol and all the rest of that stuff. Well, that's nice. What if there's more? What if that 97% of DNA, the most powerful biochemical information storage system in the known universe, what if we're storing long-term memory there? What if we're doing that? Okay. And wouldn't it be useful if you were seeing people wearing brown shirts and black boots and these little swastika things and big dogs on short leashes, killing and shooting and hurting your friends and family into big ditches or onto trains? Wouldn't it be useful to store that information in our DNA, pass it on to the next generation so that if and when they saw people with brown shirts, black boots, swastika signs, and dudes having big dogs on short leashes, that they wouldn't know why, but that they would have an emotional response that caused them to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help if they saw these things happening. Because we don't have a recollection of everything that happens to us, unless, of course, there just happens to be a little bit of emotional energy that we attach to that information. What were you doing September 11th, 2001? Where were you at? What were you doing? Everybody knows, right? Where were you at September 11th, 2016? How about September 11th, 2020? How about September 11th, 2024? It wasn't that long ago. right? You remember any of these things? Of
Yes.
course not. Do you really?
Randomly, just because that's such a big day for me. Like, but typically I don't even know where I was on my birthday. You know
Right.
what I mean?
So
Yeah.
what was the difference? What was the difference on September 11th, 2001 or September 11th of any other year that was different from the September 11th of 2024?
Yeah.
It was the fact that we were experiencing emotion attached to the information, and that together is what drives that information into our long-term memory.
Yeah.
So
Question, 'cause we only have a few more minutes left and then we're gonna hand
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I have a question. Can this be quantified? That's my question.
Yeah, Rachel Yehuda already did it. We just don't know how to interpret emotional data that's biochemically stored information. But
Right.
I will tell you this.
Right.
I will tell you this is a well-defined, well-documented phenomenon
Yeah.
that especially heart transplant survivors or heart transplant recipients take on personality characteristics consistent
I
with
didn't
their
know.
with their donor. Other
Wow.
transplant recipients will do the same thing. It's because they've got transplanted memories, for God's sakes.
Yes.
When we're storing long-term memory in DNA, you just transplanted it from one person, stuck it in another, and they can't figure out why. It's because we have the wrong freaking paradigm.
Boom.
Guys, do you understand what this means?
Transplant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My
that can't be
dad refused the liver.
yeah.
Well, he didn't refuse it, but he didn't want a liver transplant for those reasons. He's like, but what if I don't end up being me? Or what if something else happens or something, I'm putting something else from somebody else in my body? Like, it was a big discussion.
Wow.
That came up a
Right.
lot.
But this is no, but now what no, and everybody here at Healerverse, this is what they're doing is they're working with and manipulating that energetic language, and it has rules, patterns, and characteristics that can be absolutely manipulated. We have control of our DNA. It's emotionally charged information, and that emotional energy has its own language. It has its own language and it can be manipulated. We've all been speaking it all of our lives. Now that congratulations, by the way, you're all bilingual. Okay. And now you just recognize it. But once we recognize that we all have a second language in here, and we learn that energy is moving around according to according to the rules, patterns, and characteristics of that language, the entire world changes. And guys, this is the message of Healerverse, is having a voice to that freaking language. This is why this is such a big deal.
Huge.
This changes human evolution. It changes the direction of everything. And I know I sound like a crazy man talking about this, but we're seeing the absolute things that we used to call, these are miracles. It's not a freaking miracle. This is the way the world works and always has. But we're waking up to the fact that this is a language that can be manipulated. Okay, Gwen knows it. Stu knows it. I know these two clowns that are sitting there in Miami Beach, Florida, know it because they do it all the time. They just don't realize that it is a language.
Yes.
And it's a language of love. And it can also be a language of fear. It's not, and we have a choice because we have free will. The God that created us gave us free will. We get to experience life however we want to. What a fascinating day and age that we live in, for crying out loud. I told you were going to get in trouble when you opened my mic up, sis.
No, I love it.
This is
No,
great.
this is
Awesome.
great. And the
This is
reason
great.
so there's a reason that I asked you, can it be quantified? Because the answer is no. But we know. Because a lot of people will ask me certain things, can you quantify it, right? People that aren't in the know. And it's like, this is the perfect example. There's evidence. Can it be quantified? No. It could be qualified.
They base
Yeah.
their operations
Yeah.
through life on that. If it's not
Yeah.
that, then they try to
I like
which
to just
way.
like also like expand people's minds to be like, you can't always put arithmetic to things. You can't always divide and subtract and add and multiplication and all this stuff. Sometimes you just know.
And honestly, you're exactly right. But you know what, Trish? I think we're going to figure it out. I think we are going to be able to quantify it. I think I think it all is. I think it's all biochemistry, and I think that a certain amount of that information comes here with us. And I think that we pick the issues that we want in our lives before we come into these bodies by picking the parents and the stored information that they have, and that's okay. This is a crap you're going to have to deal with. Here you go, bud, and deal with it.
Yeah.
And because this is an emotional program, this is a filter. This is a way to see your life. You see the same issues running through families, addiction issues and personality crap, and Nicholas Cruz. You guys know who Nicholas Cruz is?
Why do I know that name?
Yeah, because he's a kid that pulled the trigger on 20 some odd little kids in Parkland, Florida, right? Do you know what his background is? And by the way, I'm just going to tell you, and this is going to sound bizarre. He has done the world an unbelievable service, and so did all the people that he killed. Do you want to hear why? Guess what his background is? Do you know where he came from? Had great parents, by the way.
I don't remember.
They adopted that child. Guess who his folks were? Guess who his biological folks were? His mother was a hooker, and she was working around the airports, and they finally caught up with her and said, "Where'd this kid come from?" And some dude that screwed her and beat her up. So what do you think the DNA program that child brought into this world was? It wasn't because he didn't have good parents, because he did. But he brought a DNA profile into this world, an operating system, an emotional program that said, you will destroy. And those other 23 people that he shot offered themselves up and said, go ahead and destroy me just to go ahead and show the world what this is all about. That put things in a little different spin, won't it?
Yeah.
But my point is this: Nicholas Cruz, even though the things that he did were reprehensible, provided us more information, more insight. And those people that offered their lives up so that he could do the dastardly things that he did also did a fantastic service to the world. Tell me that's not an interesting way to look at it.
It's an interesting way to look at it. Are you saying that nature, that you're answering the question of nature versus nurture?
I'm saying that both play a role, but there's unquestionably, there is an unconscious emotional program that's playing out in every single one of our lives. This is the way, that tells us this is the way that you survive. Okay. All of these negative emotions that we all experience, answer me this. Did you ever experience sadness, anger, hatred, despair, any of the rest of these things? Has anybody not experienced that? Did you ever wake up today or any other day of your life and say, I want to experience hate, anger, sadness, despair? No, none of us want to do that. Then it begs the question, the third really important question. If you're experiencing these things and you don't want to experience these things, why are you experiencing these things? And the answer is, it's just a freaking program.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the way that we've all learned to fight, hide, run away, or scream for help and survive. And it has served humanity for as long as people have walked the planet. And today we start learning to speak the more powerful language of creation, of how do we choose to live our lives. If you don't choose to experience hate, anger, despair, sadness, upset, all the rest of these things, then what do we choose to use? Because when we understand that this is a language that is expressed in our lives, and we've been using it from the time that we were born, now we get to start saying not just the words. We put the words together, string them together, and make them mean something.
Right.
And the entire world begins to evolve in that second.
Yeah.
Are you not excited to do your freaking job now?
I'm excited, Dr. T. And we're going to hand it over to Deneen for the next few minutes, and then we're going to go to Gwen. And Dr. T, I love you. Every single bit of you, every single second of you. And I'm so grateful for you.
I'm so grateful that you put this program together.
No, it's good because you know what? Now I get little clips from each of you and I could send them to you too. That's exciting.
Yeah. No, this whole conversation is exciting because I like that we hit the nail on the head with programs. And Dr. T, you and I have talked about this. We've talked about it specifically with DNA. And I think that we get excited about hearing about a lot of this stuff because we've immersed ourselves in this world where we're talking about it. We have this conscious awareness of this. We know the studies of like epigenetics and all these cool things that we're really diving into and immersing ourselves in. But it really is a program. And we know if it is a program, programs can be overridden. We can rewrite them. And I'll give you guys a really practical example that's like super relatable, but we hear this all the time, and Dr. T, you kind of touched upon it, right? About like things running in families, for example. So we can talk about medical conditions, right? Or maybe it's like a mental health thing, whatever it is, but things run in families. So my practical example that I'll share with you is I had an incident this August. And it was an incident. It was like a freak accident, but I got injured in this accident. And I had multiple injuries, a lot of different things going on, not fun, but I'm on the road to recovery. I'm healing through the process, which is great. But when it happened, I did have to go see a doctor, which I was like, okay. And me being me, I know going in, do not let them convince you of anything. Like, you are your best advocate. You are in your body. You know what you're experiencing. And I will tell you all that I had to go in, I had to have x-rays done, like MRIs, like the full, whatever. They did blood work. I'm like, hey, do your due diligence. I kind of want to know where I'm at anyway. I think I'm pretty healthy. Before even looking at any tests, and I'm telling them exactly what happened, the incident, exactly how I felt after, pointing out where the injuries are, without even going into any of the diagnostic material that we had here. I had not one, not two, but three different doctors trying to convince me that I had MS, that I had multiple sclerosis, which I do not have. I don't have that. But three separate doctors were trying to convince me that I did, especially because my grandfather had it. So they're saying, well, it runs in families and you're presenting with this, because I had a lot of neurological symptoms that I was presenting with based on, because I had injuries to my lumbar spine, my cervical spine, with disc herniations, like nerve impingement, just to paint a picture for you guys, and some other injuries. So I had like numbness and tingling and all these different things going on. So I was presenting a certain way, but they did not want to listen to me. And they just were convinced. But the worst part was trying to convince me that I had this. And it took me saying, no, I do not. And they said, well, it runs in your family. I go, well, guess what? It stops here. It doesn't run in the family anymore. And they all kind of looked at me like, and I'm like, well, that's my belief on this. I said, I've been telling you, and I'll say it again. I hurt my neck, I hurt my back, and I hurt my leg, which I did. I also tore tendons and ligaments and fractured my pelvis. So, but yeah, I had multiple injuries happen in one freak accident, but still, they were trying to convince me of this fact. Now, the sad part is, I wonder what would have happened if I subscribed to that, if I fully believed that with my entire being, because they were trying to convince me of this for months before I was able to get in for my MRIs, because those take forever to get into these days, or in with a neurologist. If I for months sat there and believed that and owned that, I wonder if I would have showed up to those MRIs and they would have been different, and they would have
It would have been different.
Exactly.
It absolutely would have been different. And you would have been presenting with the symptoms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was just such
They're so programmable.
It was a disservice. And then on top of it, and Trish and I ended up having a conversation after this, but on top of it, I was experiencing some dizziness, and the neurologist didn't even want to talk to me. I had all questions for her. Now, mind you, I'm paying for this visit, by the way. And she rushed me through it, didn't want to answer any questions, and then threw a medication at me. And I said, I don't do that. I'm not a medication person. But I said, let me just look this up while we're on the phone. The number one side effect of this medication was dizziness. So you're going to prescribe me something that is my number one complaint, where I'm telling you I don't feel safe. And her response was, well, that's what I'm prescribing you. And I'm like, well, because you get a kickback for it. And Trish and I had a conversation about this, on how like this is not okay. Now, to bring it full circle, the best part was I trusted myself. So I was doing my own healing and going into sound healing and different things and breath work and relaxing my muscles and, doing things that I can do as a healer myself, but that I also know that I have in my tool belt from being connected with all other healers, that I have access to from Healerverse and, the great community that we're building here. But I did connect with, she's a physical therapist and a pelvic floor therapist, and she does a lot of energetic work. And I was so happy that I found her because in 1 hour, I was able to work through so much and get so much knowledge from this woman than I got from months of dealing with these other doctors and these other medical professionals. And it just goes to show you, like, they have been so programmed, right? Oh, this is what it is. Oh, it must be this. This is what it is. It must be this. And oh, this is how she's presenting. Oh, let me prescribe this. And that's a program that they have fully bought into. And that's also a program that needs to be rewritten. And it feels like we are going to be the ones breaking through to disrupt these systems because it's not flying anymore. It's not, especially in the medical field.
Well, no. What is the Buckminster Fuller quote? So don't try and change the existing system. He said create a new one and make the old one obsolete. And there won't be any changing, that $17 trillion a year, healthcare system. They've got way too much invested in it. But what we can do and what we will do is to create a new system that makes the old one obsolete. And I am absolutely committed to you and to this system because that is the only way that we are going to salvage what remains of this materialistic society to get to where we need to, or we will destroy ourselves. We are on a short track to absolute devastation here, and you and I all know it,
Yeah.
but we're not going to fix that old system. It ain't going to happen, Dave. Okay,
Yeah.
we
Last
have to
year,
create the new
going to
system.
the hospital, I got a diagnosis of like all these things, and I looked at her in the face and I said, "Why do you think I have those things?" I had like cysts. I had what are those calcium deposits? Like whatever, like that are in your uh like gall stones. I had stones, I had cysts, and I looked at her, I said, I have none of those. And I didn't.
Wild.
You know what I mean? I'm like, why are you
But they
saying
don't
that?
mean
That's so
anything.
dumb. Like that would
The question you always have to ask is, does it mean anything? It's
no,
kind of like saying you have warts. So what?
it's a waste of time.
Okay,
Yeah. It was stress. It
right.
was stress. Yeah. And once I got rid of what was stressing me out, I was all right.
Imagine that.
But it
But I
really
went
is.
inward.
Funny how that happens.
But it really is all programs, and just the fact that we can recognize that they are,
Yeah.
and we don't have to subscribe to any of them. We can say, I do not consent. I don't prescribe to these programs. And like we've been talking about here, we're here to rewrite new ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, I
Well,
don't
it's
mean
an
to
it's an
like totally
orientation.
change the conversation, but Denise was gonna talk a little bit about something else. So I just want to
What were we
see if
gonna
I
talk about?
could, what were we talking about in the car?
Hold on, give me a second.
Was it
What were
to
we
do
talking
with the
about?
planets? I just wanted her to drop a little knowledge on what it was in the car, but I forget what it was.
It'll come.
We're all aligned right now, or is it no? Is it all seven planets, seven and nine planets are aligned?
Oh, I know what we were going to talk about. We were going to talk about
Oh,
the year.
the New Year. Can she just like we're just gonna switch tracks for 1 second. 'Cause she
We
has
were
all
gonna
this
talk
knowledge
about-
about the Chinese New Year, and I want to hear about it for a second.
Well,
Yeah.
It's interesting that we're having this conversation because we're talking a lot about programs, and especially ones we're talking about that that either affect or what can have a direct effect based on upon our belief in the programs that we are writing for ourselves on the physical body. But so yeah, the archetype, the animal archetype for this new year is the wood snake. So we're talking about a very earthy and feminine archetype coming through here. But so what I was channeling for months, actually in the summer, because we also had our nodes of fate, our eclipse cycle switch into Pisces and Virgo. So they're exact opposites. So Pisces, we're going to be obviously the light aspects of this. We're going to be seeing a lot with our deeper emotional body. We are going to be seeing with our, changes with our intuition, with our psychic abilities, our higher sensory perception, right? Enlightenment. And with that, their shadow sides. We're going to be seeing where we could be prone to escapism. And this is individually and collectively as well, right? Like the shadows of that. Virgo is very physical, has a lot to do with the physical body, right? Like our health and our wellness. It's that bridge. This is actually consciousness made manifest between these two, because you're taking it from the ethereal and you're grounding it down into the physical. So really conscious awareness made manifest. But so with Virgo, it's a lot to do with health and the physical body. We're going to have a lot coming through with, oh God, so much with the body itself, but especially Virgo rules the belly. And we're going to have a lot coming through with lymphatic drainage, with sort of like cleanses and detoxes, seeing more around that with like parasites and things like that in the system. That's going to come to the forefront. But the unique part about it is as well, tied to this animal archetype, again, a snake slithers on its belly and it sheds its skin. So what I was channeling is that we are going to be meeting not only our, again, higher aspects, right? That spiritual knowledge in a whole new way. So people who might not have had knowledge or their energetic sort of languages like turned on or that they've been using, that's going to start coming into the forefront. People who are doing that already, it's going to turn up a notch, right? And same thing with our physical bodies, because those gifts too that we have, if we're talking about our senses, our regular senses, right? We know our seeing, right? Our sight, our taste, our smell, all of that. We have our higher sensory perception. So a lot of people refer to that. We might hear it as our clair senses. So like clairvoyance is just our higher sensory perception of sight, for example. So we're going to be meeting these things, but we're going to also be tapping into the physical body and the powerful energetic tool that it is, the powerful vessel that it is, in like a whole new way. So it's going to be a whole new rebirth in this aspect. And we're just going to be meeting ourselves in a much deeper way. It's going to be very tangible. It's going to be so physical because, again, it's that energetic pull down. We talk about the ascensionary process. This is the descension process. We're grounding it back down into the physical realm through the physical body. So there's going to be so much through this movement, right? Through this trajectory, because it's not just one or the other. And there's also other rotational energies that we could be talking about here, right? Centrifugal and central fungal. But for the sake of this conversation, we have the ascensionary energies we talk about, and then the descension that we talk about. So I think even more is going to be highlighted in these programs that we're talking about, and how to rewrite them from an energetic level and the physical level. It's that bridge. We're going to be bridging the gaps with these like next 2 years. It's going to really come even higher into the forefront, right? And that's why these conversations are so powerful. The fact that we're having them, and we're going to continue to be having them, because this is something that doesn't disappear. Like there's so many programs, right? There's programs within programs. And we're going to be, the whole narrative, I think we're going to see shift even bigger, like collectively, is going to be around this. So much with that energetic language we're talking about, rewriting it there and grounding it down into the physical and rewriting it there.
Gwen, do you want to go for a second? I would love to hear from you if you would be willing to. Because I feel like this is the perfect, like, you know what I mean, into what you might talk about.
What I might talk about, boy. This is inspiring. It's the first time I've been here, so you're the only person that I actually know here. So I don't have something prepared. And do I need to prepare anything? No. I was just out walking down to the ocean, and I was with a person who I can tell she has a chronic cough, and I can feel the emotional piece behind it. I know some of her family history, and I know what's behind it, but she's not open to having those programs rewritten. So that's interesting that we're talking about programs, because it's not just the programs. We also have projections and patterns. So all three of those together, we can play with. It was interesting, Dr. T. You said that we know how to manipulate them. And I was like, I wanted to ask, what do you mean by manipulate? And then you said that I knew, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, yes. I wouldn't really use the word manipulate. I would use the word that we can help shift things when people are willing. And there's so many people that are just closed-minded and not open to another way than what they've been told. My grandfather had MS as well. And I had some really weird symptoms for almost 2 years that, they tried to diagnose me, but they ended up going, we have no idea what it is. An energy healer said, you're expanding to contain more light. I said that to an ER doc, and he went, I like that.
Oh,
Young, evolved. So they are coming.
yeah, for sure.
They are shifting. So programs, yes, we have so many in the DNA. Everything is in our DNA. And there's a lot in the collective consciousness too. And when you were asking that, it's only in the DNA. I feel like there's a lot more, it's in the collective consciousness as well. It's not just in our physical bodies, but we have access to so much beyond just our physicality. And so those are some of my responses to the folks here.
So what are you working on right now?
What am I working on right now? I'm working on Get It Done labs for creative entrepreneurs, writers, authors, people that need to get stuff done, because I always thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't get things done by myself. And, I'm like struggling as a solopreneur. And then as I'm making a mini course, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many reasons why people have trouble working by themselves. I mean, really, we're not wired to be alone. And so I've been playing with the Get It Done Labs since 2018. And now I'm going to bring them through and make them available in levels so that people have access to them. They're a great thing for corporate to get projects done. And then it's a way for people to get to know me. And I use the music from the 13 chakras as the music in the background. So, and it's helping people be more vulnerable in their writing, feel safer, and just to focus better. And that's not what they were designed for. But
love that.
It's so great that they also showed up as being a really good background for the focus sections of the Get It Done Lab.
Wow. So did you name it the Get Done Lab, or
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
I love that.
I did, yeah. Get It Done Lab, Get It Done Labs. I use them interchangeably because, just one is a lab, and, there's many of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And tell us what other things that you have available, and like how can you know what I mean? Tell us.
I have so much available.
Yeah, you just launched a book. Or
The
you're
book
going
that I
to.
launched, I was a part of. I still haven't launched my 13 chakra book.
Okay.
So that one's about the core vitality system. We're kind of backing off the chakras a little bit so that we can get some people to read it that normally wouldn't have knowledge of chakras or would be turned off by chakras. So we can broaden that base of people that are seeking, but they're not ready to. Oh yeah, I know what chakras are. So we shifted that out of the title, even though that's basically what we're writing about. But the divorce book, The Other Side of Divorce, it fell in my lap, literally.
Wow.
Because I had been interviewed at a podcast by the woman who had the book project, and somebody dropped out, and she called me and said, what do you think?
Are you
writing those 3,000 words was cathartic. It brought up a lot of shadow. It brought up a lot of things from the divorce, and
Yes.
and also how far I've come.
Heck yeah, I love that. That's super inspirational.
Yeah, 7 golden nuggets. I came up with 7 golden nuggets to make it easy for people. So I'll be doing talks and stuff about that too.
Where can we get that book?
Amazon.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yep. It's The Other Side of Divorce. The author, she just sent me an email.
That's amazing.
I'm on the back of the book, but yeah.
You're in there, girl. You got it.
I'm in there. I'm chapter 8.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's amazing. And I know that you have been helping so many people through some of the webinars that you've been doing and some of the courses that you have. So do you want to tell us more about that?
actually have a get it done lab that I'm going to here shortly, like 2 minutes. So maybe I'll come back. I'll come back for more of these and not just in from
For sure.
outside.
Please do. I kept you in mind when you asked for a different time. That's why I made it totally different than what it
Yeah.
was last time. I actually had you on my heart and in my mind. So welcome. Yeah.
Well, I knew I needed to show up because of that.
Oh, you're so awesome. You're so awesome. I'm so
And luckily you can't smell the sweat from
You look good. You look good.
doing the hills.
Yeah. You
All
did.
the ocean spray. Though that would be fun for you to smell the ocean spray. Spray of the ocean,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sounds of the birds, the sounds of the ocean, the negative ions, sending all of those to you this very moment, feeling what it feels like to have the tug of the wave in your body.
Yummy.
And that as you drop into the knowledge that all is right in your world. Bye.
Love you. Thank you so
Love
much.
you.
You're amazing.
Aw.
Amazing.
Oh, I love it.
Well, Manny's on
She's
the tennis
fantastic, a
court.
poet.
She's awesome, right?
Hey, Stu, I've never met you. Tell me, no, tell me what you do. What's your
Sure.
background?
I'm based in New York. I've known Trish for almost 20 years now, between mutual friends and all that stuff. So when I heard about what she was about and launching, it just aligned with who she is as a person. And it's just been great to connect with so many other people within her network that follow those same ideologies and transfer that same energy of positivity and uplifting. So I work in finance. I've been in finance for almost 15 years now. And for me, of additional support that is not um, a pill, but more of love from people around me, people that I interact with, people that think differently, because I feel I do as well. I'm a challenger through and through in terms of information that is given to me. I think that that's a good thing in the fact that um, I'll process it, right? And I think it's healthy to question what traditional medicine and healing is. So again, this is why I'm here, um, because for so long I felt like I have been in the corporate rat race, putting masks on to fill certain um, expectations of what I should be or can be, being a minority in many facets where I work, where I live, um, can be wearing at times. And for me, I didn't realize how consuming it could be. I just tend to, as a former athlete, just put my head down and go. But through that, I found that I was kind of eating away at myself at the core. So this is part of my healing process of filling my buckets back up of love and support and just connecting with people that, again, follow those same thought processes. So I'm not a practitioner. I'm more of a patient, realistically, throughout all of this. And Dr. T, was very interesting of what you said about some of the traumas and experiences that we carry through our DNA naturally, right? What my ancestors have dealt, they have gone through. How much have I absorbed? How much of that have I absorbed through um, the subconscious of learning about the history and my upbringing? I was brought up in a very diverse, um, I would say, culture. I have friends that look very different from me, and I have many friends that look exactly like me. And I feel like that is a blessing because I get to see people for who they are, not what they are, to so many levels, and allows me to have an open mind and um, just experiencing the best of people at its core. So I think this is just a great opportunity for everyone to learn about each other and to uh, to help each other ultimately. So it's a short but long description of me.
Be doing finance too.
I work with an accounting firm called Armanino, top 20 accounting firm. I do business development for them. So over the last 2 years, my role has been to expand our footprint on the East Coast because they're originally from San Ramon, California. So my role over the last 2 years has been really to let people know who Armanino is. I've been in finance and business since I graduated college, so it's a good opportunity. I get to coach high school basketball. I feel like I'm really living in my purpose as well with that, and having an impact on young men's lives that come from all over the world, different walks of life, and helping them, being a small role in their process has been super, super rewarding as well. So try and find some balance between the numbers and the grind of all of this, and just finding some true joy in uh, helping people through experiences through sports, because there's so many correlations that you could have with life.
Right. Exactly. Trishy, I hate to tell you this, baby. I gotta run. I gotta take two little boys and to swim lessons.